But from my perspective, and I do thank my staff, Damien and Anne. Damien has put a tremendous amount of work into this also, but I suppose the person who has driven this in a silent way is my next speaker, Marion Wilson from the National Transport Authority, because being prudent with money, as the groups we always have been, or had to be, my idea for this service was a lot different to what has rolled out in the last few weeks. I was thinking of budgets, and I was thinking of one bus and trying to do as much as I could with one bus on different sides of the town. But Marion's idea is, if we're going to provide a bus service, we're going to provide a proper bus service. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marion Wilson.
Good morning, everyone. Minister Humphreys, Cathaoirleach of the Council, councillors, TCU colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. That is the first time, and I hope the last time, I've ever been described as silent. My name is Marion Wilson, and I'm here today to represent the National Transport Authority. I suppose just a word about our core remit as an authority. It's to ensure the provision of good quality public transport services across the country. And we do this in order to increase the use of public transport, in order to contribute to the achievement of national transport planning, energy and sustainability objectives. So what does that mean in practical terms? Well, it really means ensuring that both more and more effective bus, rail and tram services are provided in order to reduce dependence on the private car. And a key concern for the authority is to identify locations where there is no public transport where the needs are not being met at all. My own responsibility within the authority is public transport service planning, and I'm delighted to be here today to help to launch our new network of bus services in Cavan Town. This initiative brings together several strands of authority interest in a highly integrated way. Firstly, identifying demands for travel that are not being met from the significant and growing settlements of Ballyhaise, Butler's Bridge and Ballina into Cavan Town, and into, I think importantly, a diverse range of destinations within the town. So you have destinations within the urban framework that are across the side of approach from the various settlements. And so when we were looking at that, Porrick and I identified that maybe if we operated cross-town patterns, we might pick up a little bit of urban demand for travel within the town itself. So offering an affordable and attractive alternative to the car to all those living in the town itself, while we generally focus on the needs of those who for whatever reason don't have access to a car, we're also very keen to get people who have a choice to travel by public transport. And statistically, if just occasionally people leave their car behind and get the bus into town, you do see that come out in good results as regards control of traffic congestion in town centres and reduction of the pressure to provide more car parking in areas where there isn't a lot of space. Another aspect is increasing the independence of young people. Now, I know we've spoken a lot this morning about the needs of the elderly, and it's true that the elderly do have special needs for transport, but also young people don't often own cars. They have opportunities to go for additional training, for new educational opportunities, for leisure, to go to the cinema, to go out to have a pint in the pub or whatever. So it increases the independence of young people in using the bus and having a bus service that addresses their needs for mobility. This service, we also feel, widens the catchment of the services at Cavan bus station for onward travel opportunities to the town and its surrounding hinterland. And we've also designed a specific fare structure for the town that allows people to, I know the frequency isn't necessarily the ideal yet, but it allows people to hop off one bus and get onto the other bus just with the payment of an additional euro fare. So there's a number of strands of integration that we like about this particular design, but I think another aspect of integration originates in the actual project management of the thing. And what helped to make Cavan Town a very good early win for the authority is the commitment and the energy of the team at Cavan Monaghan Transport Coordination Unit, and the support of Cavan County Council in evaluating and improving the bus operating arrangements, and the companies who supply the services, McGovern's and Morton's. Our colleagues at the TCU have worked tirelessly since last summer with the Service Planning Unit in the authority to, in as far as possible, quantify the need for the service, to design and test the feasibility of all the proposals, to tender for and evaluate the bids for the provision of the services, to specify the provision of attractive and accessible vehicles, to promote and raise awareness of the service in the town and amongst stakeholders, and to liaise with our colleagues in the council to get approval for the proposed bus stops. Believe me, there's a huge to-do list in getting a new local bus service into any town, and Cavan Monaghan staff at the TCU handled all that list excellently well. And finally, I'd just like to address the people of Cavan Town and the adjacent areas of Butler's Bridge and Ballina and Ballyhaise. You're also key team players in this initiative. I'd ask you to support your local bus service by using it, by teaching your kids to use it, and I'd ask the drivers of the town to be courteous to it, to let it get in and get out to the bus stops to serve the people and get back into the traffic without delay. You and your families will benefit now and into the future from having a bus service in your town, and the more use you make of it, the more the NTA can increase the level of the service. So, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Maureen. Before I forget, I do want to thank everyone who did come today, but especially I have two colleagues, local link managers, one from Fingal Meath, Miriam and Camilla from Sligo Leitrim, Roscommon. Thanks for making the effort to come today. Next, I'm calling on Minister Humphreys. I find it hard to call her minister because I know her as Heather from her time as a councillor in Monaghan, and indeed Cathaoirleach of Monaghan County Council at one stage. And I'm delighted that Heather's here because Heather's been a huge supporter of rural transport from that time as a councillor, not just now, but all the way through, and supported us when we were just Monaghan based over the years and continues to. So it's a great pleasure for me to welcome Minister Humphreys. Thank you.
Cathaoirleach of Cavan County Council, Councillor Fergal Curtin, Deputy Brendan Smith, Senator Joe O'Reilly, Marion Wilson, councillors that are here, and Marion Wilson of the NTA, and Tommy Ryan, CEO of Cavan County Council, and most importantly, representatives of the local link Cavan and Monaghan, the chairman Gabriel O'Connell, and the manager Pádraig Smith. And I have to say, Pádraig, your commitment and your belief in rural transport, first in County Monaghan and now in both counties, is second to none, and you have been working on this for many, many years, and you have certainly been visionary in the approach that you have taken to rural transport. So I'm delighted to be here today for the launch of these two new bus services for Cavan Town, and it's wonderful to see a national organisation like the NTA working with the local voluntary sector here in Cavan. I think that's important to say. You know, the members of the local link is all voluntary. So you have identified a gap in terms of the public transport provision locally, and most importantly, you have come up with a solution. The Rural Transport Programme aims to provide a quality, community-based public transport system in rural Ireland which responds to local needs. It plays a key role in tackling rural social exclusion, and I know a lot of work is underway to integrate rural transport services with other public transport services. Improving these linkages and connections enables rural communities to benefit from quality public transport, as well as making the use of our transport resources nationally. The two new services will bring a lot of benefits to the local communities here in Cavan. There will be improved connectivity between Ballinea, Butler's Bridge and Ballyhaise, and the three biggest satellite villages to Cavan Town. And this will make it easier for people to access employment, education, health, social and recreational facilities. The inclusion of additional services on a Friday and Saturday night is particularly important in terms of facilitating people to meet and interact socially at the weekend. Better links to Cavan Hospital will of course benefit everyone, both service users and indeed visitors to the hospital. The new bus routes will also make it easier to access regional bus routes operating from Cavan Town to Dublin and other regional centres. And all of these benefits contribute to promoting a vibrant and sustainable rural community, as well as supporting the social, cultural, environmental and economic well-being of Cavan Town. This project also represents a significant investment in rural transport, and I would like to commend the Local Transport Coordination Unit, Local Link Cavan Monaghan and the NTA and the many stakeholders who collectively have brought this project to fruition here today. And this is a wonderful initiative, and as has been said, I'm a great supporter of rural transport, because when I worked in Coot Hill on a Friday morning, the town lit up because they come in from Latin and they come in from Rockcurry, and they were in there on a Friday morning going to the shop, going to the credit union, doing their messages, and it really does bring a huge vibrancy to local towns, and it's something that we have to continue to support. And I know my colleagues, Deputy Brendan Smith and Senator Joe O'Reilly, very, very much, and the local councillors, of course, very much support the rural transport initiative. And I just want to congratulate you all here in the way that you have worked so well together, and as Marion has said, so hard, because it might sound easy putting a bus from Ballyhaise to Butler's Bridge through Cavan and on to Ballinea. That might sound easy, but I know there's a lot of planning and a lot of work to do to get that together. I just think the sign here says it all. Now go there and back by bus, and I think that's wonderful to say that about Cavan. And of course I'm glad to hear Gabriel saying they're going to do the same for Monaghan. And now Marion, when you're here, I want to say thank you for assisting the local link here to think big, and that's what you've done. You're pioneering this initiative, so thanks for that. And as I say, because I can tell you one thing, there's nothing I like better than when I'm going around the country, and indeed all of the elected members will say that, is telling other counties how we do it well in Cavan and Monaghan. So I'll be spreading the news about this initiative here, because that's what we want to do. As you know, I'm developing the action plan for rural development, and the joined up thinking that we see here today is just the kind of approach I'm advocating. I want to see national and local authorities and communities working together to develop the best for rural communities. And in that regard, I'm just delighted to announce this morning a further 100,000 under the REDS programme for the development of the digital hub here in Cavan. And this is, of course, is in addition to the 100,000 that was already awarded to the Balliobor Courthouse project to transform it into an economic and tourist centre for the town of Balliobor. That, of course, then we had the Town and Village Enhancement Programme that was announced earlier, 330,000, and then CAR funding only the week before last of 500,000, along with rural recreation of 200,000. And just what I want to say about this is these are all targeted measures. And these are all initiatives that come from the local authorities. And I want to thank the local authorities in the way that they're working with my department, and also, of course, the way that they worked with my department in terms of the 2016 commemorations. That was a very, very successful collaboration. And this is about identifying the most important projects and providing the funding to assist and to enable local communities and local people to take this bottom-up, ground-up approach, because that's what works, because when you have local buy-in, things work and you do achieve success. So in all of that, I was delighted to, in the last couple of months from my department, we've been able to fund projects in County Cavan in excess of 1.3 million. So it's about building on our strengths, local solutions for local problems, and most importantly, working together. So I'd just like to wish you all the very best with these two new services. I look forward to, as I said, launching similar initiatives, first in Monaghan and then in other locations throughout the country, as we all work together to revitalise rural Ireland. So thank you very much, Alcus Goramila Mahinder.
Thank you, Minister Humphreys. Marion, I hope all of that's noted. Finally, just to say thank you to the CEO of Cavan County Council, Tommy Ryan, for providing this facility, to John Donoghue, my board member and Cavan County Council representative, for coordinating this on my behalf. It's a great venue. We've had the sunshine this morning, so the photographs and everything's complete. Just to say once again, thanks everyone for making the effort to come. Spread the word in your communities. Make sure this gets used. It is about bums on seats after all, and there's loads of seats and loads of frequency for people to use and make really good use of it. Thank you very much.
We'll do two more, and last one. Nice big smiles, here we go. That's the one, thank you.
Pádraig, we're at the launch of a brand new service for Cavan Town. Very proud day for you.
Absolutely, and I suppose a lot of planning and work has gone into this. But yeah, it's fantastic, but the most important thing now is that people actually use the service when it's there.
Heather, this is a rural initiative, and you have a great empathy with all things rural, so you must see that as a great asset to your constituents in Cavan Monaghan.
Absolutely, this is a great day for Cavan Monaghan, because we have this new bus service in Cavan that's going to link the villages into the town, and I think that's wonderful. It's also going to allow urban dwellers to move out into the rural areas and to access the much needed services that they need to get to, for example the hospital or education or work. So it really is a wonderful service for people locally here, and I really strongly advise them to use it, because it starts early in the morning, it works to late at night, and it also provides a service at the weekend. So I think that's a fantastic offering in rural Ireland, and it's something that I want to see developed right across the country, because that's what it's about. It's about bringing people into the local towns and to revitalise the economy there. And I used the example here when I was speaking earlier of Coot Hill. There's nothing better than to go into Coot Hill on a Friday morning when the people from the local villages of Latin and Rockcurry come in to do their shopping, and I think it's a great service, and it's something that is certainly needed so much in rural Ireland, and will be a big part of revitalising the rural economy.
Marion, the NTA, they are working with people at grassroots level, so from a government point of view and through the agency of the NTA, it must be great to have a success story in the Cavan Monaghan area.
It certainly is. We rely on the transport coordination units right around the country to be our local eyes and ears, I suppose, in local areas, looking at needs for transport by local communities. But I think another aspect that's really important to mention on this particular initiative is the fact that Cavan, following the publication of 2011 census returns, became formally a large town. So even while addressing the needs for the more peripherally located settlements of Ballyhaise and Butler's Bridge and Ballinya, if I've got the pronunciation correct, we are also looking at the needs of local town dwellers themselves within the Swellan area, within the local housing estates of Dongola, the modern, recently developed estates where there's a demand for local mobility to get into the services in the town centre at distances that are beyond normal walking and cycling. range. So it's a two function offering here, and I think it'll be good to integrate town needs and rural needs on the same service.
Gabriel, your involvement with Monaghan Integrated Development and also with Local Link Cavan Monaghan, you provided other services in Cavan Monaghan over the years, and this initiative must be a great assist to you in the rolling out of your services.
Yes, Brian, I became chairperson of Local Link Cavan Monaghan just over 2 years ago. And again, I was very aware of the importance of rural development in terms of rural people having access to important public services. And I think the town bus service being launched today is a natural evolution of the rural transport model. In fact, we could nearly start to call it a rural-urban transport model from now on. Because certainly rural people need rapid and efficient access to key public services in their county towns. So I think that's a very important and welcome development. And again, we compliment the National Transport Authority for having the vision and foresight and commitment to funding that service here in Cavan Monaghan.
And finally, Pádraig, for an initiative that started off as a parish-based service in Latin, you have seen it develop over the years, so it must be great that it is now a combined two-county initiative that you're managing.
Yeah, I feel very privileged actually to be involved in it. I began my role back in 2008. A lot's changed since then, and we've gone through a stage where budgets have been contracting, but now, thankfully, 2015 saw stabilisation of that. 2016 saw growth and development for the first time. So it's been fantastic to be able to, I suppose, access the funding to put services like this one on, but we've also been developing other services in more rural areas over the past 12 months as well. So, as I say, to be in that space where we're developing new services, it's fantastic.